Question 98. Removing a stump. A farmer wishes to remove a stump from a field by pulling it out with his tractor. Having removed many stumps before, he estimates that he will need 6 tons, 12,000 pounds of force to remove the stump. However, his tractor is only capable of pulling with a force of 7,000 pounds, so he's asked his neighbor to help. Okay, so there's two tractors pulling, one that's 7,000 and one that's 5,500. There's an angle between them now that's 40 degrees. Part A is saying, will the farmer be successful in removing the stump? That's just finding the resultant vector. Here I labeled the arrows are the vectors. And the method I'm going to use to solve this is going to be the head to tail method. That means for this first vector, I'm going to attach the second vector to its head. And these vectors have a magnitude and direction. So I'm not changing the magnitude or direction. So I'm going to take this one right here and just move it to connect it to the head of the first vector. Now to find the resultant vector, that's going to be connecting from the tail of the first vector to the head of the second one here. Now we just have to find this value. I'm going to use the law of cosine to find the length, and it's this equation over here. I'm going to label this C angle, which is the opposite of the C length I'm trying to find. Or it could be A or B. I'm just putting it as C. With this straight line right here, it forms these two adjacent angles. And we know these are adjacent supplementary angles, which looking at this picture here, between these two vectors is 40 degrees. So right here is 40 degrees. Since these adjacent angles are creating a straight line right here, that the sum of these two angles is going to equal 180. So 40 minus 180 is 140. Now all we have to do is solve for C. To speed things up at the bottom, I'm going to provide the equation while I plug in these values into the law of cosine equation. And by doing that, you'll get the value of 11,757 pounds, which now we know that that is not successful for part A. And for part B, this is how the farmer arranged the tractors with a 25-degree angle. Would this have been successful in removing the stump? Since we're working with 25 degrees instead of 40 degrees, we can already tell that the value is going to be more than what we just got for part A. And all we have to do now is just change 40 degrees here to 25 degrees, subtract that by 180, which would give you 155 degrees, and just do the same thing, plug the answers back into the law of cosine formula. And by doing that, you should get 12,208, which now part B is successful. I want to explain, why is it that with the tractors with a 25-degree angle now is less than, or is more, there's more force now. Because as I say, this vector is getting closer and closer to this second vector. The forces are just increasing, opposing the stump. Because in the cosine function, when you're adding a lower degree, that cosine value is increasing all the way until this degree becomes 0. Then cosine is at its max, which is 1. If you look at the unit circle, that cosine at 0 degrees is positive 1. And if you went all the way to 180, if the cosine, that the degree is 180 degrees, well, then that is going to be negative 1, which will be the minimum value. For instance, if we did the head to tail method right here, it's at a 180 degree angle. It's at 180 degrees between these two angles. It's supposed to be an 8. That by doing the head to tail method, as I connect this here, you can already see these are subtracting from each other. It's kind of hard to tell, but you're subtracting these two vectors now. And you're left with 1,500 because 5,500 minus 7,000 is 1,500. And if it was the opposite, if this angle now came all the way towards 0 degrees, well then what you're going to do is you're just going to move this. Oh God, okay. You're going to move this. I'm not supposed to change the direction here, so I'm just going to bring it back here. Then once you connect these two, then you're adding them, and that's the maximum value you can go. If you add these two together, that's 7,000 plus 5,500. That would be 12,500, which that would be the max force. I hope that was helpful.